During this presentation, we'll look at the definition of modern slavery, and I will also look at the different forms of modern slavery, and also give some statistics. And of course, while on our doorsteps, we shall also look at the key indicators of modern slavery and what can we do before we talk about our recommendation and conclusion. Now, modern slavery is illegal exploitation of people for personal or commercial gain through force, coercion, or abuse of the vulnerability. And of course, as we know, a lot of people fall into this trap. And one of the primary reasons that actually drive people into this trap is as a result of poverty, because many people, they want to get something for their livelihood, and they're ready to do anything in order to survive. And of course, modern slavery encompasses forced labor. And of course, human trafficking is also seen as modern slavery in our today's society, because a lot of people are exploited through being trafficked. And once they are trafficked, they are being abused in one form or the other. And there are different forms of modern slavery. We talk of sexual exploitation, forced labor, domestic servitude, forced criminality, forced fraud, benefit fraud, organ harvesting, forced marriage. All these different forms of modern slavery are means through which individuals are basically abused. And of course, there are some, I would say, powerful gangs of criminals who are primarily, whose aim is to ensure that people who are trapped in this form of abuses, they look for ways to ensure that they don't get their freedom, and they are constantly be abused. Statistics shows that over 5 million people are living under the bondage of modern slavery worldwide. And of course, here in the UK, the National Referral Mechanism, the record shows that at least 16,000 or 17,000 approximately people are trapped in modern slavery. And these individuals that are trapped in modern slavery, they find ways to see how they can be set free. And the UK National Referral Mechanism is a process whereby once the individual goes in there, they are able to at least find ways to make their own, to gain their own freedom, as it were. And of course, globally, as I said earlier on, over 50 million people, at least 50 million people are trapped in this abuse. And many of them are either trapped in agricultural work, construction work, domestic work, or even the sex industry. And these men and women, originally, they were lured or deceived or manipulated into coming abroad with the sole aim of getting a job. But then they find themselves in a situation whereby they are trapped almost forever. Now, why on our doorsteps? Sometimes we tend to think that the victims of human trafficking or modern slavery is out there. It is not within our own community. It has got nothing to do with us. It has got nothing to do with me, because we probably have not looked hard into our own environment. Victims, basically, they are all hidden within our own local community, in restaurants, factories, and even in our homes, especially those trapped in the area of domestic work. And one of the things that we can do to actually help these victims is the fact that we need to carry out a constant awareness. So the lack of awareness and the enforcement allows it to persist. And many people who are trapped in these abuses, they find it very difficult to really tell the thin line between the abuse that they suffer and the lack that they are deprived of. So what are the key indicators of modern slavery? First and foremost, the individual's movement and mobility or freedom is restricted. And secondly, from the behavior of the individual, one, we actually get to know that this person is going through a lot of crisis, either psychologically, mentally, but the individual will find it very difficult to tell you, simply because he knows that if he talks or if she talks, the perpetrator are always there monitoring his or her movement. So therefore, it becomes almost like the individual is trapped in this abuse. And sometimes too, many of them they don't have their passport with them. And there are different signs that these victims exhibit. Sometimes, say in our churches, for example, for some of them who want to really go to church, they go to church uh, with their perpetrators. And one of the signs that they could exhibit is the fact that when they come for communion, for example, you will see them, maybe their hands are battered as a sign of somebody who is either being beaten or somebody who probably has been doing laborious job. And there is no sign of treatment or medication being given to this individual. And such an individual will not want to own up or say anything. And of course, the kind of money the individual is paid at the end of the day is almost like next to nothing, in the sense that he's only struggling to survive. So what can we do? First and foremost, there is need for us to engage in awareness campaign. And the aim of this awareness campaign is for us to educate the public and various businesses that some of these people are trapped in. And of course, there's a need too for a system of reporting through hotlines, and the law enforcement needs to be on board. Sometimes too, some of these criminals, the more you get closer to them, the more they make effort to even run away from you. But then the law enforcement should try to be at least a step ahead of them, if that is possible, because through that you drive them away from our society, from our community. And of course, our government should be able to undertake strong policies to ensure that once one is caught, that individual is dealt with. And probably if the individual is dealt with, others will learn from it. And also they need to support the victim. There is no point for us to begin to look at the victim as somebody who has been abused, who probably has no future, but for us to give that support to the individual. There is great need for us as a community to support anyone who is caught in this abuse. So I have a list of some recommendations there. I will just probably pick on one or two of them. And one of them is for us to make effort to prevent the abuse. Again, it boils down to constant awareness campaign in our parishes, in our schools, and wherever we find ourselves. It is good to always talk about it to see how we can enlighten the general public. And also, there's a need for us to work hand in hand with the government as a church, maybe as a business, to work hand in hand with the government. Sometimes too, we tend to think that if I make a report and the report is not true, or if I raise an alarm and the alarm is discovered not to be true, am I doing the right thing? I will say yes, because in the first instance, the raising an alarm is for the individual to give the opportunity for the authority to actually find time to investigate whatever the issue may be. So in conclusion, modern slavery is closer than we think in our society. And as a community, we need to make a concerted effort to see how we can fight this enslavement. Because the criminals that we are dealing with, they are constantly working hand in hand to ensure that they are not caught. But as a community, and as individuals, we should make effort to see how we can at least fight this evil within our own society. And one of the things that we need to probably look at the possibility of maybe building infrastructures that are children and women oriented. And in doing that, we help them to actually think of how to enrich themselves instead of depending on some of these criminals. I will want to conclude with these sayings from William Barclays, William Wilberforce. William Wilberforce, when he was giving his powerful speech on the abolition of slavery, said, having heard all of this, you may choose to think, you may choose to look the other way, but you can never say that you did not know it. Yes, it is true that modern slavery exists in our society, and as a community and as individuals, we need to constantly uh, do things that will help us to eradicate the evil of this criminality. I think it was Edmund Burke who once said that if good people like you and I decided to fold our hands and do nothing, evil will continue to triumph. We don't want evil to triumph in our society. We want to fight evil. We want to see how we can remove evil from our society. So all of us, we are called to see how we can work hand in hand to ensure that we eradicate the evil of modern slavery in our society. Thank you.